So we are live in two different feeders. This is Instagram right here, and this is YouTube right here. So I'm here today together with my wife, the main team member, the big boss, and this morning we've been talking about our favorite topic, which is the real American Pitbull Terrier. And we had a conversation, and you guys that come here, the way this is going to work is we're going to talk about this event and these conversations that we had today, and you guys could probably learn or pick up some of the stuff that we talked about. So, wow, as always, beautiful coffee in the afternoon. So I get my coffee in the morning, guarantee. I have to get my coffee. First thing I do, I get some water, then I get my coffee. Then in the afternoon, 12 o'clock, I'm gonna have a little bit, then around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I'll get some. But this is like the latest I can get a cup of coffee. So, for you guys that came in, welcome to the chat. We're going to go ahead and make the question. So I'm waiting for her to ask the question, and we'll go over and develop that question, the reply to her question. Go ahead.
Okay, the first question, why sportsmen love the real pitbull?
The question that you asked me before was actually different. You asked me what was the difference between having, what was the reason, or what were some of the advantages, or what was one of the things between the American Pitbull Terrier and the Bully? You have mentioned that. You said, you know, what will be the difference? This light here is coming too strong, right? I'll move forward a little bit. There you go.
This is the second question. Why the APBT are better than the Bully?
We talked a little bit about why a person should buy an American Pitbull Terrier rather than buying a Bully. Wasn't it the question?
Mm-hmm.
So as we go through the motions, we'll go and we ask a question. You know, what's the difference when it comes to the breeding program? What's the difference between a common Pitbull, a regular Pitbull, a Bully, or a real American Pitbull Terrier of whatever levels? And I'm going to take you right now to the highest level of the American Pitbull Terrier. I'm going to mention the name of a really important man in the past. A lot of people like to throw his name around like if they are part of his legacy or if they can be somehow at the level of performance. You must understand that most breeders, whatever dog you have, German Shepherd, whatever dog you might have, whenever you have this how do you call it, breed, the process of developing of that breed is important. You know, when you have a hunting dog, for instance, and people ask me the question, say, which would be the most important, which other dog you use besides the American Pitbull Terrier, or what other dogs you like? I'll say, well, I like the top of the line pointers. I like hunting dogs. They are at the very top of the food chain. And I'm not talking about hog hunting. I'm actually not talking about hog hunting. I'm actually talking about more like pointers. I like their style. I like the way they go about their functionality. So whenever we are talking about the American Pitbull Terrier, the process of developing of the American Pitbull Terrier is so different. You must understand that. I'll give you an example. I'm going to give you a very short sample of an event on the life of my dogs. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you a sample of Awesome Mayday. Where's Awesome Mayday? Give me a picture of Awesome Mayday. I'm going to show you. This dog is the one I'm going to talk about. So you get an understanding, and then we're going to take that there is no such a thing within the whole life of any Bully or many other dogs. There is no such a thing, okay? And so when we look at this dog right here, for instance, this dog here, there is something in the process of developing this dog. There's something called genetic pool, right? So that genetic pool is going to be very important, okay? And how the genetic pool was acquired, how it was built, is exactly what I'm referring to. And I'm going to give you a story that this dog, Awesome Mayday, his father is Awesome Buck. The father of Awesome Buck is Macho One-Time Winner. The father of Macho One-Time Winner is Grand Champion Mayday. The father of Grand Champion Mayday is Yellow. But I'm not going to talk about Yellow today. I'm going to talk about the mother. I'm going to talk about the mother of Grand Champion Mayday. It's Holly's Rodolly. So when we talk about the whole golden vein deal, think of this. Think of somewhere about the 1980s, there was a man that was breeding dogs for at least 30 years by that time. His name was Ernest Hollingsworth in the Carolinas. Mention that he's from the Carolinas doesn't mean that all the men in the Carolinas were great. As a matter of fact, he's one on maybe 100,000 men in the Carolinas. He was different. He didn't like everybody.
He didn't like black dogs.
He didn't like black dogs. He discriminated against people, and he did not black dogs, not because of their color. It was because he understood what I said about the process of developing. He understood that black dogs were important in the breed, but if you wanted to go to the next step over the black dogs, the red dogs were the next step. He understood that. And so back in 1980, Mr. Ernest Hollingsworth, he liked black dogs at one point, but at this particular point in his life, he didn't no more. He just didn't like those dogs. And you must understand that this man, there was a pivotal moment in his life. He had all these different dogs, and none of those dogs were superstars. They were local dogs of himself. He built them. He built a strand of dogs that was beautiful, that was strong. And there were many dogs that were good, but there was not really one that was like really, really great, that was going to impact the world, is going to change the world. But there was one single dog that was changing the world. You understand? And so as we go through this process, this man kept on growing, but he was a loner. And he kept on growing. He respected a few men. Of course he did. He respected some of the men in the past. Matter of fact is, he had a lot of problems with the guy that he got his dogs from, which he was Pat Patrick. He didn't like him too much. He thought he was just a guy that got lucky with dogs. He had the same opinion that I have. And he felt that this man has some good dogs and he made them better. He had a process of making this blood better and better. And I'm talking all these topics and all these points are part of history, only so we can understand the real American Pitbull Terrier. It's nothing for nothing else, just conversation to know why these dogs today are the way they are, okay? So remember, the way this dog is built, the physique, the capacity of this dog to be able to do running, sports, the drive of the dog, everything the dog has is extremely important, right? And so as we go through this process, the dogs in the past went through a particular selection, okay? So on this process, this selection, there was a moment where this man had this one dog from all the best of the Patrick dogs. He has this female he called Lady in Red. He picked this dog to be Lady in Red. So this was his gem. This was his diamond, right? And so when he wanted to breed this dog, he looked for a man that had the merits. At that time, the Chico-Lopez of those times is a man that today, when it comes to merits as a single man, and as a matter of fact, he's not a single man because STP means some Pollacks or whatever, so we're actually three men. But people remember just STP as being one single man, but it's really...
What STP means?
I forgot really. It was like some tough Pollacks, something like that. And so it was three Pollacks, or some three Pollacks, something like this. So they had these Pollacks, right? But the main guy was John Bemis. And this is the place in New York where Hollingsworth went looking for a dog. He was looking to breed to a Patrick dog. And at the time, remember, you didn't have computers, you didn't have cell phones, you didn't have social media, none of these things. So they had a phone, a rotary phone, or whatever. So he sent them a letter or something, he wanted to breed to the Patrick dog. At that point, this man had two Patrick dogs in the house. One that was not famous and one that was extremely famous all over the world. People knew about it, was like a wildfire. His name was STP's Grand Champion Buck. He just came out on the Sporting Journal. I don't know if he went when he was a champion, but I think he went when he was a grand champion. So this man was an old man back then. He was already a little bit sick, and he drove to the north, and he wanted to breed to the Patrick dog. So I guess, you know, after the arrival and so on and so forth, they asked him questions. He said, listen, you want to breed to my Patrick dog? He said, yeah. So he said, oh, let me bring you. And then he showed him Grand Champion Buck. He said, well, he's the Grand Champion. Everybody wants to breed to him, you know. And he has his Patrick female, and he didn't thought much of Patrick, and so but he took his Patrick female, and STP show him Buck. He looks at Buck and he says, "This is not a dog I'm looking for. So I'm looking for another Patrick dog. They told me I had a dog that only had 3 legs." He said, "Oh, that dog, you want that dog is really stupid. He's not worth really matching. He's just a game dog, you know, and it has ability, but he doesn't have any mouth." And he lost his match, and you know, he lost his leg, and they broke his leg, and he ate his leg. The dog literally ate his leg. So he was so crazy that he ate his own leg. Now, keep in mind that all these dogs are friendly to people. So we're talking about a part of the developing of the breed. And so this man, Hollingsworth, breeds his dog. He make a decision, pay attention. He didn't go to some random guy on the internet talking and stuff like that. He didn't go to somebody. He did something that I tell people all the time. I tell people, if you want to learn how to play basketball at the highest level, if it's important to you, you need to go to the highest person. If you need to learn how to play chess, most people that play chess are very smart. People that play chess usually are very smart. And when they look for chess, they look for Bobby Fischer. They look for the geniuses. They look for Kasparov, the Russian guy. They don't look for the Jojo from the neighborhood that plays chess. They want to learn, they get the manuals, they get the instructions, they get the sets, they get the moves from the masters, not from the idiots. Chess is a game that's usually played by people that have some level of intelligence. Okay, they make moves, 50 moves, 10 moves, you know, ahead of time. But what I call eagles before, you know, you remember talk about flies, ducks, and eagles. I can guarantee you that most flies don't like to play chess. Some of them do, but not most of them. But this guy looked for the guy that knew the most. He went directly to STP. He could have gone to other guys that had Patrick dogs, but he didn't want to go to the guy that had the merits. In this case, this STP, by the number of grand champions and champions, he's second to Chico-Lopez.
He couldn't go to Patrick himself.
He could have gone to Patrick himself or to go to somebody else, and he didn't. He went to the guy that has the merits. He trusted the word of the guy. And he didn't need to breed to the grand champion. And the reason why he didn't want to breed to the grand champion is because he knew some details that all these rookies around the world through generations don't know that within the world dog, the grand champion buck made a couple of signs and moves within his last showing that were not accepted by Patrick. Patrick most rather had a really game dog. And this channel here is not to promote anything illegal, but we're talking about the history of the dog in terms to understand why we need to buy the best dogs. So we need to touch the history a little bit. Now, you got to think about the Hollingsworth had 30 years in the dogs, for instance. Just give it a number. We're going to round off the numbers, 30 years. And then we have his maximum creation. He went to the best dog that he could breed to, and he didn't go to the guy from the neighborhood with the pedigree. He knows. He went, once he bred to this Patrick dog, he created Hollingsworth Dolly.
What is the name of the dog?
Jasso Cody. So Jasso, he bred his female to Jasso Cody. He created Hollingsworth Dolly. He took Dolly when she was big already and bred it to Yellow. He didn't want to breed to Yellow too much, but he bred to Yellow because there was a story about a show between one of his dogs and the yellow dog, and they look very similar. And a friend of mine, he said these two families should be bred among each other. And that's what happened, really. He got that advice and so on and so forth. So he did that breeding. And that's where Grand Champion Mayday comes. But this man was at the pinnacle of his life when he had cancer. Once he had the cancer, he sold his dogs to a man we're going to call VA. VA got the dogs, and he had black dogs, and he got rid of all black dogs. He didn't want to have nothing about black dogs at the point. VA. These red dogs changed everything he had. Fact is, some of these Hollingsworth dogs went to the hands of other people that had black dogs, but they didn't want to get rid of their black dogs or whatever dogs they had because they couldn't understand how great these Hollingsworth dogs will be at one point. Anyhow, I'm just going surfing through the history. Some details might be a little off, but this is just general history. Once VA had these dogs, he had Grand Champion Mayday. VA also made a decision on how he was going to breed some of his dogs. And he had a lot of females. When VA used to have his page, he had a lot of different females. They were all pedigrees. I was looking for performance, and I was able to see all the sons of Mayday that were worth anything. And I tell you, they were really special. I used to see black dogs or brown dogs or other red dogs too, but I really liked the dogs from Mayday. They were special. They were more durable. Remember, it was different times. We're not talking about anything recent. It's history. So when I had a chance to breed my best female, that I bought her with the advice of VA. VA actually told me, he said, this guy's going to have a litter, because I said, I want to get a puppy. So he's going to have a litter, and he was very nice to me. He says, you need to get a puppy from the litter. And this is where the magic happens. When I went to get the puppy from this litter had a blood from a particular female called Tarna. And that was the blood that was good. Apparently, he and I was looking for the red blood, but this was a brindle female. And so she had red puppies, a brindle female with red puppies. Her father was a red dog. The mother was a yellow brindle that came from a family that had a cluster, which is a different topic. And I was able. So they told me, said, I was looking at the litter for a while.
How many hours you spent to
Look at the litter, maybe 4 hours looking at the puppies. I was looking at the puppies. I noticed that at first sight they all looked nice, but there was one little female that was popping on my head, and it's like, I like this one a little better. I want to get something from this female. And so when I was looking at this female, I was in this guy's house, the guy that did the breeding of the mother of Awesome Buck, and I said, I want to get this female. And he said, well, that female is already reserved for the same man that Mr. Hollingsworth went to breed Hollingsworth Dolly. We're talking about Hollingsworth Dolly went to STP to breed, and Hollingsworth made a decision over STP.
Lady in Red.
With Lady in Red with the STP. Then I came in and I had the opportunity, and they wanted to tell me that I couldn't get that puppy because it was going to STP. At that point, I was a rookie type of guy, new guy. It was rookie, definitely a rookie. And today, my numbers are better than STP's numbers. STP was the number one guy by numbers for a long time. He was the king by numbers. He was the Michael Jordan. Then I came in and I became the Michael Jordan, and I surpassed him by a lot. But I have respect for him, obviously. He's a great guy, and what he done, typically, bow to him because he's great. I'm better than him in terms of numbers, but still, he got numbers that maybe never going to be surpassed by nobody. I don't think anybody will surpass STP except me. So when I saw the puppy, I said, I want it. He said, no, he's going to STP. I said, I see. I said, I won't buy it if I don't get that puppy. I have my brother with me, blah, blah, we pay him now, otherwise we got into a little argument, and I was getting the dog. And I got the dog that I wanted. That dog is the mother of Awesome Buck. Awesome Buck is the father of this dog. And that female, being in my hands, I could have bred it to other dogs of Awesome of Mayday, but I make sure that I bred to this one dog that in my mind, in my head, and the things that I seen from him, he was better. He didn't have no pedigree. Just like this dog right here. Didn't have merits like Grand Champion. This dog is not champion, Grand Champion. But I see qualities on him, the same qualities that I saw on the father of Awesome Buck. And I said, I'm not going to breed to Barracuda. I'm going to breed to this dog. I make the decision. Everybody thought I was crazy.
Was just a coincidence, or is basically repeating the same story when Hollingsworth went to STP?
It's the same story as Hollingsworth. They told him to breed to Buck, and he said no. He bred to the dog, and they told me breed to Barracuda for free. And I said I'm going to pay to breed to this other dog, and I paid for it, and I bred to that. Hollingsworth and I have very similar ways of thinking. A lot of people use the Hollingsworth name, like to throw it around, but I don't know any other man that has similar ways of thinking like Hollingsworth. I'm a big fan of him, and that maybe has something to do with it. So I came in with the puppy, with Awesome Buck, and I made, Awesome Buck, the golden vein, everything is attached to that part. So if you think about Ernest Hollingsworth here, and Ernest Hollingsworth is for 30 years in the dogs, then V8 is for their 25, almost 30 years too. and then Chico-Lopez continues 30 years. We're talking about at some point our lives overlap. And the overlap maybe altogether is about 10 years overlap on each one of the 30 years. Altogether is maybe about 50 years of golden vein. The breed has about 180 years, but good 50 years have come through this process of giving preference to dogs that are non-man biters and dogs that have this body structure and dogs that have this color. For 50 years, Hollingsworth, VA, and Chico-Lopez have gone for this. And this is the pinnacle. This is the top of the mountain. And so I've been very happy with this thing. And then when you ask me the question, because I'm going back to your question, what I just told you now about these decisions of great dogs, you will never see on a bully. You're not going to see this on any bully in the world. As a matter of fact, any pedigree dog in the United States right now, by some breeder, is not going to have such a wonderful story. Because when you look at Awesome Buck, you look at Awesome Buck's career, is completely amazing. You know, Awesome Buck, 2-time winner, champion 4-time winner, champion 4-time winner, a champion, you know, and then he's really a super solid dog. Created the only leader that has 9 countries, 3 dogs of the year, global grand champion, global grand champion, global champion, global champion. And from those dogs, you get the mother of this dog. You understand? And I mean, and you have, as a matter of fact, the mother of this dog doesn't come from there. The mother of this dog comes from Gasolina, which comes from Damien, which comes from the bottom from the same Awesome Buck bred to Alondra. So you look at this quality of these dogs, and you look at something that's being refined by great men. 50 years, 3 men. 3 men, 3 legends. And I throw you the name of a 4th legend, which was STP, which he was part of it in the terms of people going to him and the puppies going to him and stuff like that. But there is nothing, you cannot find a single bully through the history, because the way the bullies were created were not created for greatness. They were created for looks. They were not created for heritage. They were created for, I want to have the dog with the biggest head. Or I want to have, you understand? And then some guy in some neighborhood, some cholo in California, some cholo in Minneapolis, some cholo in Mexico City, you understand? That's breeding some dogs. Guy that has no ideas or nothing with those dogs, you understand? I travel all the world. I travel all the world. The whole, you go to Google Earth, you see the map, and you go like that, and this is Chico was here, Chico was here, Chico was here, Chico was here, Chico was here. I know the dog, man. And everywhere I went, they always say I got the best dogs. Everyone has the best dogs. Until it's time to meet the boogeyman. When they meet the boogeyman, there's no such a thing as having the best dogs. So what it takes for you to have a great dog is a process. It's a process of greatness. It's a process of creation. And today, the puppies of these dogs and this dog himself, they're just pets. But the advantages that you get is this dog can go, become 15 years old, never, ever has a single day that he was sick. Try to do that with a bully. What did this dog have here? His genetics are like, came from Olympia, from the best dogman. He don't have any pedigree, 1,000 dogmen, blah, blah, blah. You don't have this. You don't have the pedigree of this dog. So that makes him so extremely amazing. Does other people have dogs? Yeah, they have dogs. Do I want them? No, I don't want them.
It's like when I told you yesterday, the other day, and I told you, look at when people buy a Ferrari. The people that buy us a Ferrari is not a person that is going to put 300 kilometers in a road. They buy a Ferrari because they love the potential of the car. Remember that I told you?
Yeah. No, it's correctly like you buy. That's a very good sample. Somebody buy you working the people on Instagram. Go ahead, take a look at the people on Instagram and you take a screenshot of the names of the ones we gotta get rid of. But and I'm gonna take the topic that she just gave me. You know, people buy a Ferrari because it's capable of going. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful creation by engineers. Opposite of a taxi. A taxi has engineers too. You know, it has a brand, just like a dogs have a brand. But this these dogs, Ferrari has engineering mastery. It's a mastery of breeding. Each detail made by hand. And the Ferrari can go 300 miles an hour. The Bugatti can go 400 miles an hour. A prepared car can go more. So, but someone invests so much money, they can buy a taxi, but they prepare themselves. Turn on the light over there, please, because the light is going off here. Well, you know what you can do? You can get one of those lamps over there that they charge. Just turn on one of the lamps and set it right over there. All right, turn it on the side. Go ahead and set it right over there. That's perfect. Beautiful light. Put it on this lower setting because it's maybe a little too strong here. It has a lower setting here. No? Okay. All right, leave it there. So, you know, obviously in this channel, you're going to have three kinds of people that come in to get information. And you're going to have the taxi drivers, right? They cannot afford a Ferrari, and they're going to be pissed off because they cannot afford a Ferrari. They cannot afford this dog, right? And they're going to hate it. They're going to say this dog is not good. The taxi is better. My Malibu 1960 is better, or my Toyota or my Honda from 1967 is better. That's perfectly fine. But you have eagles that are going to come in and going to say, you know, I want something special. I want something great. You know, this is what this channel is about. This channel is about bringing great people that can have a great understanding and have something beautiful. You know, you want a Ferrari because you're not going to drive it at 300 miles an hour. You want a dog like this that has the capacity to be the best fighting dog, but not because you're going to fight it. You want to have him as a pet because it's a beautiful dog. It's a beautiful pet. You know, these dogs here, beautiful breeding. I have a friend in California that bought a dog that he thought it was a pitbull. He ended up having a bully. And he said he will walk the dog for, I think it was 2 blocks, and then he had to carry the dog back. He couldn't. And that he spent so much money in medicines. He kept the dog as a pet, just like he should, but he now has 10 of these dogs, you know. And it's the beautiful thing about it, you know. Yeah, beautiful thing. Yeah, of course, yeah. So
fulfill his dreams, right?
He fulfilled his dreams. There are some people that unfortunately they will never dream because they don't have the capacity of dreaming. And they say that the pearls are not made for the pigs. And sometimes some people are not going to be able to get them. That's why I say I don't sell dogs to just everybody. I sell dogs to some people. And, you know, obviously that's the way it goes. You know, you have selection when you are breeding the dogs. You got to have selection when you are selling the dogs to people. It's just one of the areas where the breeders of the past and even today failed. They sold dogs to just anybody. Anybody with $1 can have a dog. And that's a big difference for me. I broke so many hearts, so many people walking in the street with the napkins, you know, cleaning their tears. Like, man, what can I get a dog from Chico-Lopez? Can't get a dog just like that. I want great people to have my dogs.
And some people are not going to understand at all. For some of them, this is like Chinese. They are not going to understand at all.
I see. You getting these guys right here. You know how to do it, right? Yeah, do it.
Let's keep the conversation.
All right, go ahead.
Like I tell you, for some people, it's like Chinese. They don't understand.
For some people, like Chinese, yes.
Well, should we keep going? Or do you want to?
No, we can keep going. Not a problem. I just want you to take screenshots of those guys that are abusive with the language and just take it. You know, some people think and say Chico is just about the money. He wants to sell a dog. You must understand there is a long line of people that has been declined. I don't sell dogs to everybody. There's a long line of people that I told them, I'm not going to be able to sell you a dog, and I'm not selling them a dog. And, you know, so if I was just about the money, why so many people are hurt because I didn't sell them a dog? You know, so many people.
It doesn't matter.
If Hollingsworth was alive, what would you ask him? I think he will ask me a lot of things. And you know, can you give me a hand here and just get rid of some of these guys, some of these flies on the thing? One of the great people to come to the channel. Obviously, when you open a channel like this, the breed has such a bad stigma, you know. And so we need to get rid of the people that are not welcome to the channel. Just block them, get rid of them. It takes a little bit of time, but we only have 3 or 4 channels, and once is YouTube and here on Instagram, and once we block them once forever. So they will be gone. The truth is the merits, the grand champions, the greatness. Okay?
Sí, pero un hombre te preguntó que si você...
You blocking this guy? Make sure you block him. All right.
Un hombre te preguntó si o Hollywood estuviera vivo.
Yeah. I want to get your questions. Can we get your questions?
Of course.
Let's do your questions.
Okay.
Those questions are the ones we program.
Okay.
You got rid of anyone else? I would like to see across. This guy also, you gotta get rid of him because we're never gonna work with that guy.
Okay. Remember that I told you about Secretariat, the difference between Secretariat and siega-the-great. You want to talk about that?
That'll be for a different video. You have that right written down?
Yes.
Okay. No, that'll be a different video. I think this video will cut it short right here.
Okay.
And we might just continue on this because the video is already 31 minutes.
Okay.
And it's beautiful video.
Let's do another video.
So for those guys that are on YouTube, we have 2 channels. We have YouTube here and we have Instagram here. And obviously, you know, we got to work with this. I said before, there's going to be flies, dogs, and eagles. And unfortunately, the topic of the American Pitbull Terrier, no matter what we do, we are going to have these three groups of people. At the beginning, there's always going to be a whole bunch of flies making a lot of noise. You know, the leftovers of the swamp, the doggers, the miserable people that whenever they're going to do a breeding, they got to ask questions, all those people. And once we get rid of them, the videos are made for eagles, and the eagles will keep coming, and the channel will be growing with eagles. It's a little tough to get rid of eagles. And anywhere you put the name Pitbull in America, there's a swamp full of criminals, lowlifes that they jump in, and when they see Chico-Lopez, they want to get my dogs and stuff like that. And you know, obviously because it's the internet, they can jump in and ask questions. But we are going to weed for the eagles. We will get rid of all these clowns. I apologize to you guys on Instagram. You see these garbage guys talking. We're going to get rid of all of them. Sooner or later, we're going to do a major cleaning. You know, they get the chance to screw up once. After that, they are gone. And we love it this way. And we apologize to those that are listening to the bad people. But we're going forward with greatness. We're going to talk about different topics. The videos are going to be beautiful. They're going to have a lot of, I'm going to be incorporating a lot of positive talking about personal growth and becoming a great person in life. Having the mindset of American Pitbull Terrier, how to think like a pitbull in emergency times, how to react like an American Pitbull Terrier, how to do all these different things. It will be beautiful. I promise you. We're going to bring a lot of greatness to the people that are my friends that are coming to my channel and stuff like that. So we will be bringing really great people, guys. So thank you very much. This was the video for today. We're going to make the same video in Spanish, and it will not have the Instagram feed. It'll be only Spanish. So we're gonna say goodbye to you guys. And I say here, I see lots of these guys are not real men. Yes, Mr. Mad Dogs, that's correct. I know who you are. Thank you very much, my friend. And you know the dogs are great and they're awesome. My friend in Instagram, he says, I see a lot of these guys are not real men. That's correct. A lot of those guys, if you see them in person in life, you will be surprised. These guys, you wouldn't be able to say hello to them. I mean, they're really like bottom feeders in life, and they're bottom feeders in the dogs too. But you know, whenever you hold a computer, whenever you hold the phone, the internet, and today these beautiful things of social media, you know, you have President Donald Trump or President Obama, whichever one you like, holding a telephone, and then you have a guy that is just a douchebag holding a telephone. They both are in the same network. They both in Instagram. So when it comes to the American Pitbull Terrier, there is a history of it. And in the history of it, creative warriors, the times have changed. The dogs should be today being used as pets only, but you have some leftovers of what used to be called the game, and those guys really don't want to go because they didn't have the chance to become somebody. They didn't have the chance to become something special, and because of this particular reason, they still lingering around. Whenever they see someone that has dogs, they go to all the channels, and they like flies, you know, they go to all the channels and they try to create some relevancy, but you must understand this, they are nobodies. They are nobodies, and they have nothing special. But unfortunately, the name Pitbull attracts a lot of garbage, and they're not real pit bulls. They're garbage level dogs. Anyhow, guys, God bless you. Thank you very much. We're going forward. You guys take care. Look at the next video. Bye-bye.